Hello everyone and welcome to another video. How much would you pay to enter a park with 100 identical roller coasters that will all snap your spine and kill you if you go on them? Well, the guests in RollerCoaster Tycoon 2 will pay $600 for it. In this video we will find out why they do that by learning how the maximum park entry fee is calculated. It's actually really simple, it's just the maximum ticket price of all your rides combined. Let's take this park as an example. It contains a merry-go-round, a pirate ship, a big fancy coaster and a launched freefall that is dangerously close to crashing. The guests are willing to pay 1.4, 5.6, 17.6 and 20.6 euros for the rides respectively, as they're all brand new. Combined, this is 45 euros and 20 cents. This is rounded down to the nearest whole number, so for this park you can charge 45 euros. Let's now see how many guests we get if we let this park run for 1 month with an entry price of 45 euros and no ads. When April kicks in, we have a total of 165 guests in the park, which is not bad. Let's now see how many we get with an entry price of 46 euros, which is too expensive. It's clear that we're getting a lot fewer, and after 1 month we only have 62 guests in the park. Overcharging lowers the guest generation by a factor of 4, so you definitely don't want to charge too much. In this example it wasn't quite a factor of 4, which might be due to randomness, but it was still quite significant. If you charge more than double the maximum, the guest generation is cut in 4 again. I got only 11 guests in a month when I set the entry price at a ridiculous 91 euros. If you charge too much, you will get a notification that the entry fee is too high at the start of every month. However, this notification only kicks in when you charge more than 1.5 times the maximum, so don't think that you're safe just because the game doesn't tell you it's wrong. You do immediately qualify for the worst park value award as soon as you go over the maximum though. If you charge less than half of the maximum entry fee, you qualify for the best park value award. I wouldn't recommend doing this at the start of a scenario, but later on it should be no problem to do this. As the maximum entry fee correlates directly with the maximum ticket prices were you to charge for the rides, it goes down as the rides age. If you want to know all the details, I suggest watching this video about ride ticket prices, but the gist is that rides go down in value as they age. If all the rides were 2 years old instead of brand new, we'd only be able to charge $30 for the entrance instead of 45. Do remember that in RCT Classic and RCT2 Vanilla the ride ticket prices are different from Open RCT2 if the ride is under 1 year and 5 months old, so the maximum entry fee will also be different. Usually you can charge more in Vanilla and Classic, especially for flat rides, so the entry price will be higher. In the example park you would be able to charge much more for the merry-go-round and pirate ship if they're new, while the looping coaster and launched freefall are very similar. This gives a maximum entry fee of 54 euros, which is 20% more than it was in Open RCT2. You can watch this video if you want to know how exactly the calculations differ. Both this one and the previously mentioned video are linked in the description. You shouldn't worry too much about that though, as in most situations everything I've just explained doesn't matter. There is another limitation which you will hit much sooner, which is the cash that the guests carry with them. In most scenarios, the lowest amount of money a guest can spawn with is between 30 and 60 euros, which you will hit quite quickly. For example, the 7 rides you start out with in Katie's Dreamland allow you to charge 55 euros. Guests spawn with between 60 and 90 euros in this scenario, so just one more coaster or a few more flat rides will get you there. Even the 3 small rides in Future World already allow you to charge 21 euros. Add in this Rotodrop wooden coaster and dinghy slide and you're already up to 75 euros, which is more than any guest spawns with in this scenario. The Rotodrop and Launched Freefall are absolute powerhouses for this. Both the Freefall in the earlier example and the Rotodrop in this park allow you to charge more than 20 euros while being very cheap and simple to build. Even though you can't actually charge more than 20 without plugins, they still contribute their full price to the entry fee. If you really need to increase the park entry fee by a lot for very little money, you can always drop a few park value bombs, which are cheap rides with a stupidly high intensity rating. They're called park value bombs because they give a lot of park value for their cost, but you could just as well call them park entry fee bombs. Even though no guest will ever ride it, you can charge almost 25 bucks for this deadly looping coaster. If you don't do this and play normally, there are some rules of thumb that you can use. Personally, I tend to charge 10 bucks per coaster or 3 flat rides. Unless your coaster has terrible stats or you're only building terrible flat rides, this usually undercuts the maximum entry fee a little bit. This means it's a safe rule and you won't lose a lot of money, as usually you will hit the limit of what the guests can pay after a few months anyway. There is one more case we need to talk about, which is unique to RollerCoaster Tycoon 1 and OpenRCT 2, and that is when you charge for both the rides and the park entrance. In this case, you need to subtract whatever you charge for your rides from the park entry fee. So, if in the example park we charge 20 cents, 1 euro, 4 euros and 5 euros for the rides respectively, we can only charge 35 euros for the entrance. This usually won't give any issues, as the guests are only willing to pay a fourth of the normal maximum ticket price for the rides if they already paid to get into the park. Because of that, you won't be charging much for the rides anyway, so the maximum park entry fee will still be quite high. If we look back at the park I showed at the very start of the video, we can see why the guests are willing to pay so much for it. If this was a pay-per-ride park, we would be able to charge 6 euros for every looping coaster, and there are 100 coasters in the park. It doesn't matter whether the guests are brave enough to go on the rides or if the rides are even safe to begin with. They simply do the math and spend hundreds of euros to watch rides that would kill them. In conclusion, you can probably charge a lot more for the entrance than you thought. With the recently raised highest possible ticket price of 999 euros, you can make some truly insane money if you have a lot of rides and the guests are rich enough. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video.